Hi, I'm Kris Nevling, and once again, I've teamed up with Magic Makers to bring you this DVD of some of my most original card moves that have never ever been published anywhere in written form, video, anywhere. These moves are so original and so groundbreaking that when you use them, you're not only going to fool lay people, you're going to fool magicians with these moves. I mean, there's some controls in here that are just unbelievable. There's a false shuffle that'll fool everybody, and there's even a way to make somebody think of any card you want to. You can't ask for much more than this. I'm Kris Nevling. This is the Convincer. It's not on top. It's not on the bottom. And here's how the Convincer works. The card is selected and it's fairly placed in the center, but what happens is, you know the old key card principle where you look at a card and you know that the selection would be right above it if you place them on top, or the selection would be right below it. You do that, but you don't want to be obvious that you're looking at this card. So what you do is, while they're holding the card, you say, here, place it back in the center, and you riffle the cards like this and ask them to place it in. When you do that, you'll notice you can see this card for a brief second and know what it is. Watch again. Did you see what it was? The Jack of Clubs. That would be my key card. I will riffle like that about center. I seen that my key card's the Ace of Spades. The card would get placed into the center, and I would dribble the rest of the cards right on top and keep no break. This is pretty fair. You can set the cards on the table at this point, talk. What's real cool is that now you pick it up and you're going to give the cards a riffle shuffle. Now, you want to go a little further this time than you did the last time. It takes a little practice, but it's not really that hard. You just go a little further, and now you'll notice that one half's obviously a little thicker than the other. The thick half, which was the original bottom half, will actually have the selection somewhere near the top of it. You'll riffle these together, but you'll riffle the last 10 or so cards by themselves so they don't get shuffled into the deck, and then you give the cards a shuffle. You'll now show that the card's not on top by flipping the top 3 or 4 cards until you see your key card. There's our key card, the Ace of Spades. So I would say, see, it's not on top. Now I'll take my right hand, still holding the cards, and I'll flip the whole deck over, and I'll say, and see, it's not on the bottom. And I push over 3 or 4 cards there. I place all the cards back on the bottom, flip the whole pack over, and now you're ready to do the trick because your card's right on top, right where you wanted it. This is a spin pass. The way that works is the card is placed in the center of the deck. Now, I'll keep it face up for explanation purposes. When this half is placed onto the deck, you'll get a pinky little finger break above the card, like that. Now, what'll happen is three things happen all at once. Your right hand comes over the deck and grabs the cards like this. I'm sort of keeping it open so you guys at home can see how this works. The right hand grabs the bottom half, and the left hand keeps the top half clipped between the pinky and the ring finger like this. Now it's all covered with your right hand because it comes over, and you sort of tilt your hand back. Your left hand will open its fingers up to sort of lift this packet a little bit. Your right hand pushes forward and sort of drags its palm across the top edge of these lifted up cards like this. Once it gets about to here, halfway, your right hand's going to spin clockwise while your left hand spins counterclockwise to come up and catch everything like this. Once you grab everything, you immediately stop spinning the right hand and continue to spin the left hand forward and come up and square it up. So from the front, it would be like this. Boom, 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 boom. From the side, boom, 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 boom. And there's your card on top. Again, from the side, this feels a lot easier than it looks. Watch. Pinky goes in, cards go on, these wrap around. This finger and this finger are clipping the top half. Without the hand being there, what happens is this lifts up. These fingers lift this packet up. At the same time that's happening, your right hand pushes forward this half. So it's like this. From the front, you can see how that's covered. It doesn't look like anything. Now this hand will spin clockwise. At the same time, this hand spins counterclockwise. You catch everything. As soon as you catch everything in the left hand, you stop spinning with the right. You continue to spin with the left, and then come up and square. And it should look like you just do this. This is the KN shift. Now the way this works is the card's selected, and when you have it replaced, you don't want to place it directly in the center. You want to place it more near the bottom, say about 15 cards up. You don't have to count, obviously. You just estimate about 15 cards. The card gets placed in, and this is the great thing about this pass. As soon as you square up, which you don't really do because you keep a break just for a second with your pinky, but that break's only there for a fraction of a second, because as soon as you square them up, you're going to push all the cards above the break forward and then immediately fan them like this. Now what happens is you've got about 15 or 20 cards under the fan, but from the front it looks like you just fan out all the cards. And I usually, as I do this, what I'll do is the card will get placed in. I go like this and I say, now obviously you could pick any one of these cards. Now I'm ready to finish the shift, which is done in two phases. The first phase obviously is the pushing forward and fanning of the deck. As you square the cards up, your right hand will come over and sort of hit it with your fingers like this to square it up. As it does, it's going to grip these top cards. At the same time, your left hand is going to come under your finger, your left first finger is going to come under and push this packet up It just snaps it up. This is how it would look without the top packet. Now, once you come over to do that, these are like this. The top half gets flipped towards you and coalesce with the original bottom section. Then all the cards are flipped over, and there's your selection. So it would look like this. The card goes in, you push forward, fan, you come over, you kick, flip, square up, and now the card's right where you need it. That's the can shift. Here's the classic pass. The way that works is very simple. It's simple in mechanics, but it will take some practice, and once you master the classic pass, a lot of the other controls on this video will be a lot easier. The way it works is the card's placed in the center. As it's placed in, you'll put your pinky here for a break, just like that. And all that happens without the cover of my right hand is this. You see that? Watch again. Without my right hand, this is what happens. With the right hand cover, you have this like this. The right hand comes over. It grabs the bottom left corner of the bottom half at the thumb, and the bottom left, or the upper left corner of the bottom half with the middle finger, like this. You sort of tilt your hands back so the top of the card can't be seen from the spectator, and as soon as your hands tilt back, you'll open the hands up like this. Immediately this is brought down around. Without the hand, you can see how this looks. It's squared up with the cards, and it's done just like this. Face down, just like that. The break, the hand tilts back. As it goes to tilt forward, this hand opens these cards up. At the same time, this hand pushes this half up. Not so much drastically like this, but I'm just doing that for explanation purposes. But it comes up. This gets brought down under, squared up, and there you go. Now you don't want to bring this all the way down like, you know, I've seen people do that where they will bring their hand all the way down, and that's a sure sign of it flashing. Actually, if you just bring your hand forward, it's completely invisible if you bring your hand sort of forward a little bit like that. This is a spring pass. The way this works is the card's selected, and as the spectator's holding it, you dribble you spring the cards back and forth in your hand as you're asking them to show it to around or whatever. And then when you ask them to replace the card, you dribble or you spring the cards into your hand and say place it in the center. They place the card in. You'll come over just like you're about to do a classic pass. You'll get a break, and you'll sort of square them up. Now in the action of doing a classic pass, you'll tilt your hands back. But as soon as you tilt back, instead of coming forward and finishing the classic pass, I'll turn this face up so you can see it, you'll actually just start to bend these cards, and these will automatically be covered by the hand. And then you'll pull this hand up. At the same time, you'll close these cards into your hand, and at the same time as you do that, you'll sprinkle those into your hand. It's sort of hard to do that slow. Real time, I'll show you how that works. The card's there. You come up, you bend, you come back, you riffle, or you spring, and you're done. This is the deception card. The way that works, the card selected, you take it back, and you fairly place it in the center of the deck, but you leave it out jogged, about 1.5 inches. Now in the act of pressing the card in, you're actually going to clip the corner of the card between your pinky and your ring finger like this. And now as your hand closes to supposedly press the card in, another thing, you want to hold the deck only by the pinky and the flesh of the thumb like that, so that the rest of your fingers are not in the way when this comes slipping out. So it's placed in. You've got the deck held by your pinky and the flesh of the thumb. You come over to supposedly press it in. You clip it, and as you close your hand in, your middle finger pushes towards the left outer corner of the deck. You slide your middle finger across the deck. At the same time, the card will come out, and then you'll put your thumb on top of the deck, and you slide back, putting the card back on top, and sort of just, massage the front like you placed it in. With my thumb out of the way, this is flip-flop to the top. Now you know the old trick where you look at this card and then you know exactly what your card is. It's, lots of people know that. But as a professional magician, I can never use that because, heck, anytime I touch the cards, they could even just change into different ones for all I know. So I'm really, plus you always got to root through the deck, so I don't do that. At that point, the card's on top. This is more of a one-time deal that you would do with you're out performing some magic, you have someone pick a card, they pick it, and when you ask them to put it back, you would ask them to put it face down, but as you do, you point like this so that they see this card. Now a lot of people, a lot of laymen today know this trick where you would look at this card, and if I put that on there, you could root through the deck and find the selected card, no problem. So I use that to my advantage, knowing that a lot of people already know that. So once they put the card in, I place this like this, and I mention that old trick about this card and that card and how I could use this as a key card. Then I say, but me, I'm so good, when I touch the cards, sometimes they even change. So, and as I say that, I just come over with my right hand and grab the whole packet and shake it and flip it over. That wasn't a very good color change because we got 2 8s here, but we'll do this like this. You come over, you grab it, and as you shake, you just flip your hand over, and it'll look like the card changes. Then you'll just take that whole half, pick it up, flip it over, and you say, plus you have to root through all the cards to find the card and know who wants to do that. And at that point, the card's on top already waiting for you. So in actual performance, it would look and sound like this. Go ahead and place your card right there in the center for me. Thanks. Now, you know that old trick where you look at this card and you place it over top of your card, and I would know exactly where your card is. You know what I'm talking about? And they say, yeah. I say, well, I can't do that anymore because I've got so good. Heck, when I touch the card, sometimes they just change into different ones. Plus, you always have to root through the cards to find the card. So, and at that point, I'd be ready to start with the main trick. That's a one-time thing for you. So, hope you like it. This is the KN cover pass. The way that works is as the card is being held by the spectator, once they selected it, you will perform a get ready. That is super easy to do. You just push the top card over and you place it, the corner, the outer right corner, in between the ring and middle finger like this. And then you'll hold it onto the deck like this. But from this front, it looks completely natural. Now the card is placed in the center of the deck. I'll do this face up. As you place the cards back on, you're going to get a break. You're going to actually just do a classic pass at this point. But because of the card being lodged in your fingers, and you're reaching in to the break caused by that, as you do your pass, the top card will stay right where it is. The other card will come up and be the second card from the top. Watch it again. You've got your little get ready here, as you can see. This would go on. Your fingers are going to go in this little break that's caused by the card being lodged in your finger. You got your break. You do a regular pass, but because of the card being wedged in the fingers, the top card stays exactly where it was, and all the other cards are passed underneath it. Watch one more time. What's really cool about this is with this get ready, you can do action cover passes. You could actually take a card, if you have the get ready, and you've got the card put in the middle, you could do like a top card dribble pass. You could do all types of passes that you could normally do, classics, dribbles, spins, and you could do them top card covered so that the top card is always in view. Watch close. You'll see the top card never leaves the sight. And now it's right there. This is a spread reverse pass. here's how it works. Usually you have 2 cards selected for this. After the first card is replaced in the deck, you control it to the top. We'll assume that's the 4 of hearts. And then you'll have another card selected, and this card is going to be placed in the center, which will be the ace of clubs. Now the ace is supposedly going in the center. What happens is you have the cards spread out in your right hand like this. When this is placed in the center, you go to square these up. But on one motion, once they square up, you got a little break here with your pinky. Your hand's going to go flush. Your right hand will go flush with the top cards as your left hand kicks these out and over. At the same time, your thumb of your right hand will pull the top card with these pulled over cards, and they'll all flip right on top. I'm going to do that in slow motion, that flip, because what will happen is that places the original top card face up in the center of the deck, and the original middle card that you're supposedly placed in the middle right on top. Watch this again so you have a better understanding how this works. Watch. The ace goes in the center, the 4 is already on top. You have it placed in, you square up, you kick these out, your thumb comes over, pills this with this half, it gets flipped over onto there, and now the ace is on top, and the 4 is face up in the center. This is the KN bottom control. The way that works, very simple, yet very elegant. The card gets placed in the center. Now as you pretend to push it in, a couple things happen at once. You're going to take the card and actually pivot it so that it turns sideways like this and comes out of the deck this way. Now as it comes out, it's going to end up like this, but your hand will be covering that. I'm going to show you this again just so you can see exactly what happens. Your hand pushes it sideways, your pointer finger continues to push it down, and then your left hand will turn the card so that it faces just like that. Once it's like that, you can see from the top, you cannot tell that that card is protruding from the deck. But from the bottom, it looks just like that. As soon as it's there, your left hand, which has been under the deck the whole time, grabs the card with the pinky and the first finger, just like this, as your right hand lifts the rest of the deck up and dribbles it on top of that card, putting it on the bottom. Watch again one more time, face up, so you can see how this works. It goes in, kicked out. You see how it kicks out right there? I go boom, there it is. On the bottom hand, those get dribbled on top, and now it's on the bottom. One more time. Just like that. This is the magic control. Just tell me when to stop. Right there? That'll be your card. Go ahead and take a look at it. Remember, all I did was riffle down the side. You could have stopped me anywhere. You stopped me right here. This is the magic control. Just tell me when to stop. Right there? That'll be your card. Go ahead and take a look at it. Remember, all I did was riffle down the side. You could have stopped me anywhere. stop me right here. The way that works is sort of weird, but once you get a little feel for it, it actually flows pretty nice. You do let a fair selection get picked, and you're sort of standing sideways to the spectator. So the spectator would be looking at the top of the cards. And you say, I'm going to riffle up the deck like this. You just tell me when to stop. You do this, they say stop. It doesn't matter. As soon as they say stop, you pull the card out from the bottom like this. Once it's out, you show it to them. As you pretend to push it in, the pinky of your right hand and the ring finger will grip it at the corner. You'll turn sideways, and as you turn sideways, this is what will happen. You'll steal the card out, and all at the same time, your finger will riffle the deck as it says, remember, you could have stopped anywhere as I riffled. You don't continue to do this. That would be not smart. You just do this one time. And then you turn the cards back regular. You almost got this card, what's called Tenkai Palm. You're like this. You riffled. You turn your hand forward. This goes right on top of the deck. You square it up from the side. You can see how it would look face up. They stopped. You pulled it out. You showed them the card. You push it in. Riffle the side. Come back. The card's right on top. Now I'm going to show this in slow motion so that you can get a good view of exactly what happens without this hand being in the way. The hand comes over and grabs this card between the ring finger and the pinky. Instead of pushing it in, it just pulls it sideways. At the same time, the pointer finger riffles the cards. You see how this card is just being held just like this. So your finger's free, yet that's just like that. As you riffle the cards, this card just gets placed right on top, and you square them up, and you're ready to go. This is the think control. I'm going to riffle through the cards like this. As I do, any card you see in here, just remember it. Now, don't think of the top, this one here. That's way too easy. Try to think of one in the middle. You ready? Did I go a little fast? Or were you thinking of the ace of clubs? Because it's right on top. Watch again. One more time. Not this one. Did you get one? Is it the five of hearts? Now this move is actually a variation of an old move that's actually in Expert at the Card Table, one of the oldest card books that we know of. And the way the old move worked is you would riffle through and sort of stop in the middle at a specific card. It didn't matter which one it was, and then you'd keep going, and you would, whichever one you saw the most is the one hopefully they saw the most, and you would know which card they were thinking of. Sort of like if I go, did you get one? The seven of clubs. And that's somewhere here in the center. But what I did is devised a way to actually do the flip so that the top card is the card that they see the most, yet they see it in the center. It's almost like a retention of vision card force, because what's really cool is you can actually force someone to think of a card this way. Like if I wanted you to think of the six of clubs, I would just say, as I riffle through, just think of one you see. Did you see one? You sure did. It was the six of clubs that's right on top. The way that works is as I riffle, you see how the last card comes right up. I just pop it right off. I mean, that's the only one you see. What you need to understand is it's a constant speed until you get right to the end. And the last card is just a fraction of a second more, and you see it clear as day. And I'm telling you, when I do this, when I go like this for somebody and I say, just think of one of those, well, that was, and sometimes when I don't see it, then I know they don't, and sometimes I'll ask them if they didn't get one, I'll do it again, and that's fine. They say, sure, do it again. Once again, I point out not the front one, because you don't want someone to think of this one. Obviously, that'll ruin everything. So you go again. That's the 8 of diamonds, right on top. Watch one more time. Did you get one? Was it the 5 of hearts? You get the idea. You try this in the mirror a couple times. Maybe just, try to get a little rhythm going. Within, I don't know, an hour or so, you'll be showing your buddy this trick, and he'll think you're reading his mind. Believe me, this is the best way to get a mentally selected card in your own head. Just like this. Did you get one? 7 of diamonds. Is that it? Right on top. I mean, you're left there. You don't do any sleight of hand at that point. The card they're just thinking of is right on top of the deck, waiting for you to do anything you want with it. What more can you ask for? This is the roll up sleeves pass. The card is placed in the center, but to be fair, you want to roll up your sleeves so that nothing sneaky can happen. But of course, it's already happened. Very simple. The way this works, just like a classic pass, the card is placed in the center, face up. You can see how this works. You'll place the cards on top in preparation for a classic pass. Like we explained earlier, you got your pinky in here, you're ready to do the pass. But as you start the pass, instead of finishing it like you would a normal pass, you just bring your left hand back with the finger. It takes the top half and pulls the right sleeve up. The right hand cards are placed on top of the left, and the right hand pulls the left sleeve up. At that point, obviously, the card is on top. It doesn't get much simpler than that, guys. This is the one-handed shift. The card gets placed in the center. And did this guy see it? I hope he did. Because if he didn't see the card, the trick doesn't work. This is the one-handed shift. The card gets placed in the center. And did this guy see it? I hope he did. Because if he didn't see the card, the trick doesn't work. Very simple. All that happens is all you need to learn is how to do this cut. Place the card in the center and get your grip just like you would a classic pass. Now without the right hand, you will lift up these cards. The left thumb will push down to lift those up. These will get pushed down and that'll get squared up. Now in slow motion it's hard to do and make it clean. Regular speed, it's just like that. And what happens is once the card is placed in the center, you turn to the side. You need a spectator on your left. You turn to the side and you drop your hand out of view beside your pants. As soon as it goes out of view, you point to this guy and say, did you see the card? As you're pointing, that's when you do this. And you come back, and the card's right on top, waiting for you. In actual time, the card would be in the center. You'd square it up. You drop your hand. You say, you saw the card, right? Okay, good. And you come back, and it's right on top. This is the open side still. I'm going to riffle down the side of the deck. As I do, please say stop anytime you want. Stop right there. Perfect. Remember that card? That's your card. If you forget the card, this trick don't work. Remember that. It's already done. The card's on top. Doesn't get easier than that, folks. It's very easy. The way this works, you fairly riffle down the side. What I like to do at first to make the spectator stop me sort of close to the top is I say I'm going to riffle down the side and I want them to say stop. And I say, you ready? And they say, yeah. And I go, real fast. And I go, oh, was that too fast? And it's a little joke, and for entertainment value, it gets a little laugh. Then I'll start again. And 9 times out of 10, they'll stop you within the first 20 cards, which makes it perfect. But you riffle down, they say stop. You stop right where they said. You fairly lift right where they said. And you click them together like this, the packets, and tell them to look at that card. As they look at it, and you come back down, your right or your left middle finger is going to push the card out just a little bit so it's kicked out just like that. As you square the cards back up, you'll notice it's still sticking out. You'll keep your hands like this for a second, and then you'll say, remember, don't forget it. And now you're just going to peel the single card out, and at the same time turn your hand, and it should look like it looked earlier with all the cards. And you say, don't forget it. And then you immediately put just the single card on the deck, and that's the control. So in real time, it looks like this. They say stop. You say, look at it. That's the card, the 9 of spades. You kick it over, and then you just pull the 9 out by itself, and then put it back on. And now, obviously, the 9's on top. In real time, like I said, you could put the 9 in, and then you still it out, and you say, look at it, put it on back on top, there it is. It doesn't get cleaner than that. This is the point control. I'm going to riffle down the side of the deck. You say stop. Stop. Perfect. That's your card. Everybody take a look at it. You show it around. It's very simple and basic. You ask the guy over here if he saw it. Obviously he did. Of course, it's right on top. This is the point control. I'm going to riffle down the side of the deck. You say stop. Stop. Perfect. That's your card. Everybody take a look at it. You show it around. It's very simple and basic. You ask the guy over here if he saw it. Obviously he did. Of course, it's right on top. The way that works, you need a spectator to your left. You stop right where they said, and you show the card around to everybody. As you go to square them up, you'll push it over just like you did with the open side still. But this time, you want to catch the corner in the pinky, in between the pinky and the ring finger of your right hand, like this. And you steal it out. Now the cool thing is you can point. And if you point sideways, you notice the hand, it doesn't look like, it just looks like I'm pointing at somebody. But here, you can see the card. The deck is held right here as you say, you saw it, right? They say, yeah. You come back and just lay the card right on top of the deck, and you're ready to go. So one more time, they stop, you show it, as you're showing it around, I usually just kick it over into my finger, but I don't let it kick off. I do that as it's sort of sideways. As I square up, I still it out, and I point to this guy and say, did you see it? He says, yeah. I come back, lay it right on the deck, and it's back on top. This is the KN Fall Shuffle. The way this shuffle works, it's going to seem weird at first, and the hardest part of the shuffle is going to be to actually use this finger to riffle the cards. You hold the deck in your right hand with your thumb at the outer upper corner, and your your second, third, and fourth fingers at the bottom. Your first fingers behind the deck. Like this. Now what happens is you'll bring your left hand up and you'll place the deck in between your thumb and your first finger, and you'll riffle off about half the cards. Just like that. Now these three fingers will sort of pivot these cards up, and your middle finger here of your left hand is going to grab right on the corner. Just like that. See how you can do this? This is what you'll really need to practice on, because this is the hardest part of the whole shuffle. Is just getting a fluid riffle with your middle finger here. Because now, once you have it stuck onto your middle finger, your right hand riffles these with the thumb. At the same time, this finger riffles these with the middle finger, and it shuffles them together like this. Once they're shuffled together, you push them in, and you'll notice they're sort of at a weird angle. At this point, if you switch grips and grab like this and give a normal bridge grip, the cards will coalesce. But the thing is, if you notice the sides, they'll coalesce out-jogged and in-jogged from each other. At this point, once they're coalesced, your left hand grabs the out-jogged cards, your right hand grabs the in-jogged cards, and you'll perform a pull-out, and you'll pull all these out, but it's going to look like you're doing a Hindu shuffle, like this. Boom. That's the first phase. Now you're going to pull another section of cards off the top of the right hand packet, but as you pull them off, you're going to want to keep a break in between them. These get thrown on top, but a little misaligned, and you keep a break with your ring finger. You'll notice here from this position that you have two breaks. You'll come up, square up, but keeping your breaks with your thumb. You'll push the two packets forward. Your right finger, or your left finger, will come up, hit this corner, flip this packet forward and catch it onto the deck. These get thrown on top of that. And at that point, the deck's right back in the exact same order that it was. You've got your reds, you've got your blacks. Watch close. Remember, this here has to be smooth. If it's not smooth, the shuffle will be really rough. They coalesce, but you still notice, look, even if I spread the cards at this point, all the reds are in jogged, all the blacks are out jogged. At this point, you just perform a fake Hindu shuffle. You grab the out jogged or the in jogged cards and the out jogged cards and you pull them out. Let these drop into your left hand. You pull another section from the top of this, keeping a break. You drop these on top, keeping another break, so now you have 3 breaks. One with the pinky, one with the ring finger. Your right hand comes over, and it takes over the breaks with the thumb, like this. It pushes this packet forward. This finger comes up and takes the first stack of cards from the top and drops it onto the pack. Those get dropped on top of that. You're right back where you started. Every card in perfect order. It's a beautiful fall shuffle. Okay, you just watched the DVD, and now you know what it takes to be a real card worker. Practice these moves up, get them down pat, because next time, you might need to use them. I'm Kris Nevling, and I'll see you next time.